Since the beginning of 2015, well, we've opened up another office in our network. We have 27 offices worldwide, and we opened up, of course, an additional office in the Marshall Islands, which makes 28 offices. We opened up in the Philippines, and that's significant because more than 30% of our seafarers come from the Philippines, and so we're doing licensing and seafarers identification in the Philippines. We've been expanding our existing office staff. We've added a new surveyor in New Orleans because it's a very busy port. And one of our goals is always to remain on U.S. Qual Ship 21, which we have achieved. And I'm going to hand over to Theo. He has a few ideas, I'm sure, about some of the latest developments.
I think the latest development, especially concerning the Greek market, is the fact that within the last 18 months, we became the #1 flag in the Greek market in terms of ships, and the second biggest flag in terms of tonnage, second only to the Greek flag. We'll still continue to allocate more resources in the Greek market because it's #1 clients in the registry. So we want to have more technical people and more people with safety and inspection background in order to be able to accommodate the needs of the local market.
I don't expect any major changes. I think we're just going to steady as she goes, stay on course with what we've been doing. As far as expanding, Theo said we need always a deeper bench of technical and marine safety people, so we're always adding folks to our international offices. So some milestones, I think, of course, just announced by the U.S. Coast Guard Friday that we're Qual Ship 21 for the 12th year in a row. I mean, you'll hear a lot of registries talk about quality, but really, how do you measure it? And you measure quality by your port state control performance in a lot of ways, and that's really the proof is in the pudding. And we also are very firmly whitelisted on the Paris MOU and Tokyo MOU. And if you look at the competitors, as far as other flags, they can't say the same. No major flag has been 12 years in a row on Qual Ship 21. Theo?
I mean, one of the major, because we travel a lot together and we came from a trip in Far East, I mean, we have about 20% of our tonnage is coming from the Asian market. And I think the basic strategy that we will have for the next 5 years, and of course we have to look at the prospects of the market too, is that we need to have more ships from the Asian market, especially from the Japanese market. So we have more people now in our Tokyo office. We have 2 offices in Japan, or in Mabari and Tokyo. And we want to have at least 13 to 15% of the market in Japan like we have in Greece. This is our target in the Asian market. As Bill said, we continue to add more resources worldwide. We have 28 offices right now. We look where the market is and, of course, where the ships are trading. We want to keep the quality distinctions that we have worldwide in the U.S. Coast Guard, of course, and Paris and Tokyo MOU. So we will continue with our inspection program as it is right now. And of course, in cooperation with our owners, we will continue with some extra boardings whenever it's necessary to avoid any port-state control problems for our ships and for our owners too.
I'll start off with one of the big environmental challenges right now facing shipping, of course, is ballast water management. I do know that the U.S. Coast Guard is testing a number of systems now, and that we should have some type approvals before the end of the year, is what the latest information I've heard in the U.S. But of course, that's been something that's been a challenge for our owners because you have ballast water almost in effect under the IMO standard, but you also have a differing standard in the U.S. So what shipping needs is uniformity. And so that's been a big challenge for the owners because even with the new builds, what kind of system do you install if it's not even type approved? So this is something that's been very difficult for the owners to confront, and of course our guys are staying on top of it to inform the owners as developments happen. Well, I mean, I think we always focus on port state control, and one of the things I think that value that we give to the owners is that with our marine safety and technical people worldwide, our job is to help the owners keep their ships trading. You know, if you have a vessel that's tied up, especially in this market for a few days, it can be a huge economic damage to the owners. So I can't stress enough how important an active flag state with the coverage worldwide that we have helps the owners and from a market standpoint, because if a ship is trading, it's making money. If it's not trading, it's not making money.
And the only thing I want to add is that from a practical point of view, we have developed some working groups, like a Blue Water Vessel Advisor Group. We have owners of the flag meeting, especially the technical people. It's same to the technical committee prospect of the class societies. We meet and we discuss about regulations and upcoming rules and what they expect from us. And what we also reorganized was the team that we have in the IMO. In the old days, we only have people from USA going to the IMO. Now, as part of our services, the IMO team is also decentralized. So we have people from the Asian market, people from Greece or Europe meeting in the IMO, and of course coming back and getting feedback from the local markets. For example, we know that Greece, of course, is the number one shipping nation in the world and the number one client of the flag. So we want to have an active cooperation with the Union of Greek Ship Owners, and active cooperation with the local market and the local people to accommodate their needs.
Well, let's go to the IMO first and foremost. IMO is always going to have regulation. I mean, when they have sessions, when they have working groups, they're developing regulation. That's what the IMO does. What we've decided as a flag state for several years ago, and what we've been doing is Theo just mentioned that we have a strong IMO delegation, international IMO delegation, and what we want is smart regulation. We know there's going to be regulation, but we actually send a lot of expertise to the IMO to work on the working groups. We want to make sure that that when the regulation comes out, it's something that the owners can live with and still operate, the business of shipping, because regulation is impacting the business side of shipping. I mean, over-regulation, we hear the same thing from a lot of the owners and the operators, is that there's so many regulations coming, they can't keep up with them. So as a flag state, we've had to build our own department, a regulatory affairs department. It used to be part of our marine safety department, but not anymore. We have a regulatory affairs department that focuses on international regulation entirely. And so our job as a flag state is, first of all, to make sure we have smart regulation coming out, but we also are communicating to our owners and operators what regulation means and how to actually make it practical for them. And so it's a constant it's a constant issue with us is regulation, as far as how it's interpreted and how it impacts the shipping business itself and our owners and operators.
Yeah, I mean, as a company, we've been in the industry for 65 years now, right? So we have a long history, and we want to have a long future too. We're not here to stay for another 5 or 10 years. We want to stay for another 165 years or even more. So as Bill said, I mean, we're building a strong team in the IMO. We have our regulatory affairs group. And I think that our main advantage right now, I mean, personally, I believe that the industry is overregulated, but I believe that probably that will go on in the future. I think we live in a different environment. It's a completely different world right now. So I think that probably will continue to be overregulated, and that's a burden for the owners, but it's a burden for us too. Like organizations like flags or class societies have to invest more on people, resources, and technology. So this is what we are doing, and I think the main advantage we have in comparison with other registries is that we have the biggest network and the biggest resources all over the world, so we can help the owners deal with new regulations.
Our main message is that we will continue to support the owners, and we appreciate the fact that the owners have supported us and making us the #1 flag in Greece, foreign flag in Greece. We will continue to resource the registry. We will add marine safety staff. We will add technical people, because you mentioned about regulation. You need a full bench of staff to help the owners and operators keep their ships moving and trading. And that's one thing that we can do as a flag. Theo just mentioned that we have, the office network worldwide. We have the people to support. Shipping is 24/7 and it's worldwide. You can't be just in some centralized location, whether it be New York or London, and expect to run an effective registry. You need to have technicians, you need to have marine safety people worldwide to support the ships that are trading. I mean, we have a LRIT map of the world that we show our owners and operators when we give presentations. And we have, how many? 3,800 ships now trading in the Marshall Islands flag. I mean, so you can't support that from one location. You need 24/7 service, and you need office locations worldwide. And my message to the owners here is that basically we will keep supporting you. We have 40 people in Greece, and we're going to add more, and we're here for the long haul. The mood seems positive.
Yeah, I was concerned a bit about the mood some months ago because of the problems with the financial crisis in Greece and of course the dry cargo market, because almost half of the tonnage or even more from Greek owners is bulk carriers. But I see that the mood is here. I see a positive mood, a lot of events and parties taking place. People are happy worldwide, and I think it's a good break for our country. I agree with the message that Bill is giving to the Greek owners. I want to personally say thanks because I've been in the company for 16 years, and when we started, Marshall Islands was not even on the top 10 flags, and now we are number one. We will continue to invest with people here, and as Bill said prior, I think it's two things are important right now, that we are not only number one flag in Greece, but in comparison with our major competitors here, we are the only flag among the top 10 flags that has the Qualship turn-to-end distinction from the US Coast Guard. And that's very important for the Greek owners because they are investing in new ships, younger tonnage, and they have completely different mentality and culture on buying ships now. And I think they prefer our flag because of the service and because of the quality distinction that we have right now.